I'm not having the best morning this morning, so I apologize ahead of time. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And the iPad is not going to cooperate with me this morning. Okay, there we go. Oh, you know what? I don't think I ever plugged this in. Hang on. There. Okay. All right. If I was smart, I would edit all that out. I probably won't. But part of the reason why I don't is because then you see the real me, not the smooth polish. Not that I'm ever smooth and polished, but you see the real me, the messy me. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning, and I'm just cranking me. Like, I'm not tired. I feel fine. Like I feel normal for me. I'm just cranky this morning, and I have no reason. I got a pretty good night's sleep. I don't know. Sorry about that. I called my vet yesterday and talked to her, and she said she'd call me back, and she may, and I'm not worried about it because I've got a week and a half. But she's going to look up the danger zone once the kittens are past the danger zone. Did I tell you I might be getting kittens? Yeah, so that's where I'm at. Okay, kittens. All right, but we are here to do the living sides of mine, not talk about me being cranky and interestingly enough, we're going to talk about one of my more favorite metaphors, your spiritual bank account. So let's do the housekeeping really quick so we can get on with that. And all the housekeeping is me reminding you we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. The website is creativelife.org. The email, if you will email info@creativelife.org. info@creativelife.org. There's a constant contact email. You get one email a week, unless something unusual happens. Again, hurricane country, and it is hurricane season. And it tells you what's going on for the week and the month, and the hot links are hot. If it says click here now, it means it. And it's a blind CC, so nobody's going to see your email. So you won't end up on anybody else's email because of us. Now, the social medias, I harp on the social medias simply from the fact of we don't monetize them. We're not asking you for money. We're not giving them money. So what we ask you to do instead is to like, subscribe, follow the platform, based on which platform you're on, the pages. And then the individual posts, we ask you to like or love or laugh. You can laugh too, because some days I'm just silly. So react, I guess. So like, react, share, and comment on the posts, because it bumps us in the algorithms. More people see our stuff. That's what we ask you to do, because we don't want to give them money. So we don't want to give Facebook money, or we don't want to pay for the ads, and we don't want you to have to deal with the ads. So, all right. So there's that. Okay. I should tell you what they are: Creative Life Spiritual Center or Creative Life Spark, and I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. So if you wonder where these videos go to live after Facebook deletes them, they go live on YouTube. Right now, most of them are on my YouTube, which is the Running Rev Ryan. Some of them I'm going to move over to the, that's a daunting project. Okay, so the Living the Science of the Mind, these are essays that came out of the at-home course, and I believe the at-home course came out of the fact that people kept asking Ernest Holmes questions. And so he would write essays on articles, and then it became a take-home course, and then they collected the essays for this. So that is what's going on. So let us talk about our spiritual bank account. I'm getting my trusty highlighter ready here, because I don't see any marks in this one, so I don't know if I've read this one before. But I know this one because Jesse likes this one. He talks about your spiritual bank account on the regular. All right, so your spiritual bank account. We all know that we have money. We have to have money before we can spend it. And how comfortable it makes us to feel to have a good, fat checking account. An account big enough to draw on in emergencies without impoverishing us when it comes to paying for our ordinary needs. I wonder how much longer before checking account nobody will know what that means. Like, I still write at least one check a month. I pay my mortgage that way. Let us talk about another kind of checking account. which is equally important. We are calling it your spiritual bank account because we believe that there are great spiritual forces that we can draw on and deposit in our own minds, and which can be used in an emergency in any stress or strain of life. Life has enough of everything to spare. Yeah, life has enough of everything to spare. It's kind of an important line there. It contains love and faith and peace of mind and joy. Would it not be wonderful if we could build up a spiritual bank account and hold it in reserve? An account which we knew would be sufficient to meet any emergency in our lives. For we are always being called upon to meet emergencies. Times when we need more love and tolerance, more kindness and understanding, a deeper faith and a higher hope. Like me today, because I woke up cranky, so I need a little extra. These are the real crises in our life. And at such time, unless we have a vast amount of goods stored up, we not only become impoverished, but we sometimes become destitute of hope. And then despair takes place of hope, and fear takes the place of faith. This is what we want to avoid. Desperately. The desperately is mine, not Ernest's. How would it be if we all opened a spiritual bank account with a spiritual account with the Bank of Life, and realizing that we are drawing on the infinite each day, deposited enough hope, happiness, and faith to more than meet every emergency that might possibly arise? Now, I'm sure that in the succeeding pages he's going to get to this, but we've been talking about regular spiritual practice. That's what regular spiritual practice is. That's making deposits in your bank so that you know how to get access to the account when you need it. Okay. The wonderful part about this is that we know life contains all these things and it wants to give them to us. It is intended by the divine scheme of things that we should have them. How would we go about it to open such an account and be sure that we had enough of these qualities on deposit so that our checks would be honored whenever an emergency arose? We know that we have to deposit money in the bank in order to draw checks. We know that the money is in a safe place, and that the checks will be honored unless we overdraw the account. In our ordinary affairs, we have to earn the money, and in a certain sense, this will be true of our spiritual bank account. But the earning of the supply or the substance of our spiritual bank account is a little different. For we earn the ability to draw on the Bank of Life only through having practiced love. Well, that's interesting. Yep, I knew it was going to be. All right, this is where many of us fall down because we do not quite realize that love is the base of everything. We have had so much experience that seems to contradict this that we become skeptical and cynical and sometimes wonder if love, after all, is the greatest reality in life. And yet we know that we could not live without love, for life is absolutely meaningless unless its whole motivation is built on love and givingness. Why can we not think of it this way? God has already made the initial deposit, and a big one. And I think that's important to remember. God has already made the initial deposit. It's like your parents, they set up that bank account for you when you were a child and then encouraged you to add money to it, but they were constantly putting money, they were sneaking money into it too. Okay. Or at least that was my experience. So like when I would get money from my grandparents or something, they would encourage me to put it in the bank account. Birthday money and Christmas money and stuff like that. Okay. So God has already made the initial deposit, and a big one for everyone who has ever been born into this world, because God has given itself to us. God has imparted its own life, and in a mysterious way, which is beyond our comprehension, has endowed us with the capacity to love. If God is love, and no sane person can doubt this, and if each one of us has, as we must have, immediate access to the love of God, then we can earn the ability to draw on the bank of life to such a degree as we become loving. We shall earn the ability to draw on this bank through constant meditation and prayer and communion with the infinite. That's what I said. Regular, daily spiritual practice, whatever it looks like to you. Because he said communion, prayer, meditation, using statements in our meditation similar to the following. So this is his suggestion. God is love, and all the love there is mine now. I shall endeavor to see something lovable in everyone I meet, in every situation in which I find myself, and as I do this, I shall accumulate a great degree of love to be deposited in my bank. And then, when some experience comes along which seems unkind or unlovable, I shall be able to write a check on my bank of life, which will cover every liability of hate and of unkindness. And here's one of the greatest secrets of nature. The person who has taken the time to harmonize themselves with love will find that when some incident that seems hateful or discordant arises in their experience, they can draw on a reserve force, which they now have. They can actually apply this to the situation when it arises. If you accumulate a certain amount of love and then meet some situation where discord and strife seem to enter, get quiet in yourself and say, I'm bringing love to bear on the situation. A love which comprehends and includes everything. A love which has no hurt in it. A love which is not afraid. A love which is calm and confident and sure of itself. Okay. And that's really important when you walk into a situation and it's messy. If you just start with that simple phrase, I'm bringing love to bear on this situation. I am looking with the eyes of love. I am hearing with the ears of love. I'm feeling with the feelings of love. If you can bring love into the situation, no matter what the situation is, it will open up your options. Because when you walk into a messy situation, you may only see one option. Love will see other options. And that's the biggest thing is so that first sentence, I'm bringing love to bear on the situation. If you start every messiness like that, it will help. It will help. Okay. Right here is where the law of mind in action comes into play. When you apply your thought of love directly to discordant situations, and there is nothing in you which is afraid, your thought of love applied to the situation will heal it. If you have deposited enough love in your checking account, you will find that you can meet the situation. Your check will be honored by the bank of life, and the situation that confronts you will be healed. It may not be immediate, but it will be healed. Okay? So, sometimes we have to give ourselves the grace of time. First of all, you must have a firm conviction that God is love, and an equally firm conviction that when you apply this principle of love to any human problem, the very words you speak in your meditation or treatment or prayer will operate as law in the condition that confronts you and will neutralize or overcome everything that opposes it. This is not an act of will. It has nothing to do with holding thoughts. It has nothing whatsoever to do with concentrating your mind or influencing people. It has to do with this one thought. God is love. God has deposited love at the center of every person's being, whether they know it or not. And this love, which I now use, is not only the greatest sentiment in the world, it is the supreme power, it is the perfect law, it is the reality. And because you have deposited a love which can see around everything that contradicts it, and because you have ample love left in your own thought, you will find that the love you use acting as law will definitely overcome the fear and the hate and the sense of insecurity that come when there is a sense of lack of love. Okay, and that's important because anytime you walk into a situation and there's fear, the best way to beat it is with love. Okay. That being said, however, don't put yourself in danger. don't put yourself in danger. You know. Okay. You are allowed to love from a distance. Perfect love can also cast out all fear. Love is always greater than fear. Fear is not really an enemy of love. All that fear can do is cast a shadow across your pathway. But this shadow is dissipated when you look at it with love. You are not dealing with two opposing forces, but with only one force, which is absolute and positive and conclusive. But first, you must have made the deposit in the bank of life. You must have spent much time with yourself, straightening out all the little animosities and resolving them into the one great love, which is God. God never fails, and love never fails, and you will never fail if you use the love that God is. And it reminds me of the, Jesus said, if you have anything against your brother, before you come to the altar, go deal with that. And so that's, you've got to work out all your little, like today, I woke up cranky. I have no reason to be cranky. I don't know why I'm cranky. So that's where I have to apply the love, and straighten out the whatever discordant I'm dealing with, So I'm going to have to apply that love and not be cranky all day. Because if I'm cranky, then I'm not a whole lot of fun to work with. And it definitely makes my job harder when I'm cranky. So, hence, I'm currently making a deposit. This is helping a lot. All right. And now let us think of some other things we want to deposit in the bank of life. Perhaps one of the most important next to love is faith. Faith in God, faith in ourselves, faith in what we are doing, and faith in those around us. A person without faith is so insecure, so shaken by circumstances, that they become stable in everything. Okay, so we're depositing faith now. Sorry, I got distracted. I gotta stop doing that. It's such a good article, though. All right. Let us see if we cannot draw upon the great reservoir of faith, which comes only through implicit, complete surrender of all of our fears, whether they be big or little. Faith is natural. Fear is unnatural. Ooh, that's a good line. Faith is positive. Fear is negative. Faith is affirmative. Fear is a denial of life. And we need a great deal of faith if we are going to meet all the fears and uncertainties that we are sure to encounter. Only a little faith cannot do this. Just as we cannot pay $1,000 debt with $500, so it is impossible to meet a trying circumstance unless we have sufficient faith to cover all the fear. As a matter of fact, we have as much faith as we use. We have as much faith as we believe. When Jesus stood before the tomb of Lazarus, he was confronted with the fear of death. He was confronted with the weeping and wailing of the family. In a certain sense, he was confronted with the whole human belief in death. And you will remember what they told him. He dare not roll away the stone from they told him he dare not roll away the stone from the tomb of Lazarus. The stone is a symbol of the obstruction that confronts us sometimes when we attempt to use our faith for definite purposes. How often we look at the stone, how often we think of the tomb with the dead inside. How seldom do we realize that there is no obstruction to the divine power. But Jesus lifted up his voice in communion with God. He raised his thought above the fear of the moment. And he could not have done this unless he had spent much time drawing on the bank of life and depositing large amounts of faith to his own account. For on another occasion he said, "This kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting," by communion with God. Jesus had spent so much time alone with God that what to us seems unreal was to him one solid reality. God is life, God is power, and this life and this power are available right now. Jesus must have gradually accumulated a storehouse of faith, and when the emergency arose, he was able to stand calm and certain, uncaught by the fears of others. He looked up and not down, and offered what seems to us the greatest short prayer of the ages. Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me, and I know that thou hearest me always. What sublime confidence, what infinite trust, what limitless assurance. God always came first with Jesus. Father, I thank thee. How many of us have enough faith deposited in the bank of life so that when fear confronts us, we can boldly proclaim, my faith is sufficient, my trust is complete, my assurance is absolute. Spirit, I thank thee that thou hearest me. There is no doubt here, no uncertainty, no hesitation. And I knew. What power and possibility is caught in the two simple words, I knew. There is no question. There is no doubt. I knew that thou hearest me always. Not once in a while, not by and by, not yesterday, but here, today, as I face this tomb, in the midst of all this doubt and fear and uncertainty, I knew. And now, carefully note what happened next. It is written that Jesus cried out in a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. He could not have said this with such confidence if he had been depending on his human willpower. He was standing still and watching the glory of life with a calm assurance that his words were honored by a power greater than he, that power which we all have access to, life itself. There are many other things that we must accumulate and deposit in this bank of life besides love and faith. Important among them are joy and happiness, for life intended us to be glad. There's always a song when we know how to sing it, and always joy if we can find it. And of course, we need to deposit a large amount of peace, a peace that rises above the storm of confusion and doubt and uncertainty that so often confronts us. If you listen to peace, you will hear it, and it will flood your whole being. Then, when you meet confusion, just write out your check on the bank of life, and do not be afraid to sign it in the name of God. This is God's bank, and just as surely as you do this, you will discover that your words of peace, acting as the law of good, will draw upon a power greater than you are and liquidate the confusion. This is practicing the presence of God, coming to know that we are in partnership with the original banker, the one who made the bank of life, but the one who, in a certain sense, must wait for us to join in this divine partnership. It's that free will thing. It's got to wait for us. It can't do it for us. We got to come to the bank. There is a power that honors our faith. There is a love that meets love with love, a law that meets faith with faith, and good with good. We did not create this law, this power, this divine presence. We had no more to do with it than we did with the creation of the north wind or the north star. It was there before we recognized it. It would be there if we had no existence, but it does not seem to be there until we believe in it and use it. Let us then be certain that we open up our account with this great bank of life, for here and here alone is the real substance that we can draw upon to purchase every good and beautiful thing that life has in store for us. Here alone are peace and joy and certainty. Here alone is freedom from fear and doubt. Deliberately close all your accounts with the lesser banks, throw away the old checkbooks and forget them, and learn to turn daily to the one and only supreme source, which is God. And then there is a meditation. So I'm going to do this meditation, even though I really don't have time. So, believing that God is all the presence there is, I am learning to feel this presence in everything and in everyone. Dwelling on the thought that God is love, I permit my mind to become filled with the consciousness of this love. I permit this love to envelop everything and everyone, bringing with it the sense of peace, joy, and certainty. Realizing that God is life, I open my whole thought to such a complete inflow of this divine life that I see it and feel it, the one perfect life which is God, in people, in nature, animating every act, sustaining all movement. My faith in this life is complete, positive, and certain. Knowing that all things are possible to faith, I say to my own mind, be not afraid. Faith makes your way certain. Faith goes before you and prepares the way. Believing that God is in everyone, I meet this God in people, and I am one with everyone I meet. Knowing that God is peace, I open my mind to the quiet influence and the calm certainty of this peace. And knowing that God is joy, I meet every situation in happiness. I commit my life unto that power which can do all things with complete assurance. And we are going to end it there, and I'm going to end it there. So I'm just going to remind you, Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back with you around 9:15. Have an amazing day and know that you are loved.